What's going on YouTube? This is Sidney Cumbie once again with yet another makeup video. This video is going to be an old age blind lady zombie. I sort of came up with an idea to have a model just, you know, being blind, so doing like a ripped out eye on this side and then it's just swollen nasty on the other side. I think it came out pretty good. You know, it was fun. I don't know if I'm going to do a voiceover for this, so I'm very sorry guys. I do have another video of an old lady, a zombie coming up or on the channel. I don't know if it's on or not. So maybe I won't do a voiceover, maybe I will, maybe you'll get lucky, but this is a lot of fun to do. I think the makeup came out pretty good. I like the idea of doing no eyes. You don't have to worry about contacts because contacts are super expensive. Here it goes. I hope you guys enjoy this video because I know I enjoyed doing this makeup. A lot of fun. Let's do it. What is going on guys? So I'm gonna run you through this video. Now this is the first time I've actually seen this video, so I'm just gonna give you tips and pointers about what I did in this video and how I made this zombie. Now I've done plenty of zombie videos, and I'm sure I've done a voiceover on all of them or some of them. So if you guys want to check those out, maybe they're a little bit different. But this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and watch it and give you guys a little bit of pointers and tell you exactly what I'm doing. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's do it. Alrighty, so right here I am actually fitting the swollen eye on her. Now I'm going to be using Telesis around her eye just because I don't want to use Prosthetic around her eye, because I want to be able to remove this pretty easily, and with Super Solve Telesis just comes right off, and I just don't want gummies around her eyes. So I'm using a little bit of Telesis 5, which doesn't exist anymore, but I still have a nice supply of it, so I'm just going to use it. Now I'm using a Delium Tool bent liner brush. It's definitely one of my favorite glue brushes. It's a bent liner brush, not really meant for glue, but I use it for glue anyways, and I never have a problem getting Prosthetic or Telesis out of it. Now I'm just powdering around it with another Delium Tools brush. I'm powdering around it just to make sure it's not sticky when I glue other prosthetics down. Now right here I'm putting a little bit of zinc oxide powder on her lip. Zinc oxide, when you're working around the mouth, this is a lip prosthetic that I'm putting on her, but when you're applying around the mouth, it's always best to put a little bit of zinc oxide down. That's going to dry it out and make sure everything sticks to the mouth really well, because the heat and moisture that comes out of the mouth. Alright, so right here I'm actually starting to apply the forehead. I went down to the center of the forehead and went over the eyebrows with the Prosthetic, because I'm using Prosthetic. And now I'm sort of taping down her eye so she doesn't open it. And I did that with a little bit of surgical tape that I can remove pretty easily with a little bit of isopropyl myricate. And this is so she doesn't open her eyes, because I'm going to put a ripped out eye prosthetic over her eye, and I don't want her to be moving her eye open and closing it a lot. So I just put a little bit of Prosthetic over the top of that, and I laid down the eye and lined it up really well. So she's basically going to be blind in this makeup. I mean, not completely. She can still see a little bit out of the other one. That's why I didn't glue the other one completely down. And now I'm letting it, I had to put a little bit of alcohol on the forehead, and so the prosthetic is a little damp in an area. So I'm letting that dry, and I'm just going to go ahead and work on the old age prosthetic. And of course, like always, I'm starting from the center and working my way out. So you want to start from the center of the neck, work all the way down into the collarbone, and then you can start working from one side to the other. And I'm using a much bigger Delium Tool brush here to apply glue, because I want to apply a large area and lay this down relatively quickly, because these are a lot of prosthetics for someone to sit for. So I'm trying to make this really easy on my model and lay this down much quicker. And I'm applying the prosthetic. I'm putting the glue down, the Prosthetic down, and applying the prosthetic when the glue is still wet. I'm still tacky, so that if I put it in a position and I don't like it, I can just pull it right back up and lay it back down. And that's the good thing about Prosthetic, is that you can put it down and pull it back up if it's still wet, just like I did right there. But with Telesis, Telesis dries real quick, and once you lay it down, you have to lift it up with a little bit of thinner or alcohol. And so with foam pieces like this, you can stretch the piece because this is a generic piece. You can stretch it. There is there's a chance of tearing it if you pull it too hard, but usually this has a pretty good elasticity, so it stretches pretty well. And yeah, and there it is. I'm just lifting up edges. Basically, I'm lifting up edges and laying it down. So lifting up, laying it down, working from one side to the other, stretching where I need to stretch. And then what I do is, as you can see right there, I'm going over the edges with the Prosthetic and stippling on top of the edge. Foam is a sponge basically. If it's a thin edge, you lay Prosthetic on top of it. That Prosthetic is going to seep through and lock down that edge really nice. It's always good to lift up a prosthetic and glue up under it. You definitely want to glue everything up under it, but for the really thin edges, you can always stipple on top, and that's going to lock it down. Alright, so as you can see, I'm stippling over the edges just a little bit right there, and it doesn't need to be nice and neat. Not with a zombie, of course nothing needs to be neat with a zombie. It's always good to have a good application, but nothing has to be super nice. Anything can be turned into a wound. Don't feel stressed out when doing a zombie. Zombies should be fun. That's just how I feel about it. And just have a lot. And as you can see, I'm stippling over the edges again, over the lip. And you want to make sure you powder it, just like I did right there, because if she closes her mouth and her lips stick together, it's not good. So now I'm using a little bit of Bondo. It's also known as Cabo Patch. I think this is the Mel's gel or whatever, Bondo. This is gonna fix edges. If you have a bad edge, you laid it down, you have this weird edge, you can put a little bit of this over the edge and texture it out, and then that will hide. You want to ramp it up so that it will hide the bad edge. So that's what I'm doing a little bit. Generally with these RBFX prosthetics, you're gonna have good edges unless you lay down the prosthetic wrong, which it looks like I did in some areas, but it'll work. So now I'm doing my undertones. So with foam latex, you have to seal it with PAX, and this is PAX. This is Thomas Surprenant's prosthetic paints. It's a different type of PAX, but it's PAX, and generally PAX is 50% acrylic paint and 50% Prosthetic. This is a little bit different material. It comes off the skin easier. It's made with beta bond and cosmetic pigments. But this is my underpainting, what I'm doing here. So I'm doing a blood layer first. And this is a little bit more old school technique. You don't have to paint like me. This is just a way that I paint. And it works for me, and I like it, especially with zombies. I'm using a Delium tool, a large stipple brush, which I love to use when doing these, when covering a large area. So this is just my undertones, like I said before, and I'm doing a blood layer. I want it to be more fleshy, more, not alive, but signs of life. I guess well, you'll see what I mean. I'm going to use a little bit of purple in here as well. Right there, I'm using a medium Delium tool stipple brush, which is another one of my favorite brushes to use. Just stippling it, and make sure I'm covering this thing, because again, before you paint it with any alcohol colors, watercolors, anything like that, you want to seal it so it doesn't absorb into it. And this is what I'm doing. I'm sealing it right here. So now I'm using a little bit of the purple PAX color, and I'm just throwing it in certain areas. I'm not being too precise with it. This is a zombie again. I'm just sort of stippling it everywhere. I'm making a more bruisey undertone as well, more dead undertone. I'm going onto the skin a little bit with this, but this is the Thomas Surprenant pack, so it comes off much easier than your normal pack. So that's what's good about this. This is I'm just sort of in around the eyes and around the nasolabial fold. Throwing it into the wound and everything, around the ear, anywhere that I think blood would pull up a little bit. So I'm just putting a little bit there, purpling out the lips just a little bit with it. So now I'm using almost like a pastel yellow to do my first sort of flesh layer. I like to, I'm trying to make them, maybe a little jaundice color up in here first, and I'm experimenting with colors because that's what these videos are for me really, is to experiment with colors and sort of just figure out how I like to paint. And while I'm learning, I might as well show you guys exactly what I did so you guys can learn something as well. Alright, so I'm just stippling around using two different brushes. I'm using the Deli Tools large stipple brush to put on the paint basically, and the other brush that I'm using to sort of smear it out, fade it, not make the lines look so harsh, and just make it a little bit less noticeable. I'm building up colors here. That's what I'm doing. I'm building up some nice layers of color. And I really like to use purples and yellows when doing zombies like this. Alright, and of course, like right now, it's looking really rough, and it's kind of crazy, but just bear with me, and you'll see it will come out eventually. So now I'm using more of a light, like dead flesh color, and I'm stippling it on with a sea sponge a little bit, just a little bit here and there. And then I'm using that brush again to sort of fade it out. And I want the skin to be splotchy, so that's sort of what I'm doing, making everything sort of splotchy. And then when I go in with my alcohol colors, my airbrush colors, it'll all make sense. And she's looking really rough. Now it's starting to look kind of bruisey, around the collarbone. You can see like the bruisey, like dead looking. And I should really leave more of this in the makeup, but in this makeup I took out a lot. I don't know what I saw in person, but I did take out a lot of this bruising with airbrush. But I added it back in, and I don't know. Alright, moving some hairs back. Alright, so now I'm using my Epic Dat European Body Art airbrush, my favorite airbrush to use right now. And I'm using a flesh tone right here to go over the whole thing. Just sort of knock down some of the lines from the undertones and sort of fade that, make it look like it's underneath the skin and popping out. Make it look like those purples and red and yellow is underneath the skin, and it's like the bruising underneath. Because then I'm going to go in again and enhance that with a little bit more purple and red and stuff like that. Alright, so now I'm going in with this is a contusion color from European Body Art. This is the purple color I like to use with zombies. And I'm going to go over the lips, on the nose, then the eyes, maybe shadow some areas out, bruise up some areas where the collarbone is, definitely enhance that, do some squiggles, do a little bit of modeling all over, just squiggles all over to make things look more bruisey. And you can see and I go into the hairline a little bit. Now I'm not going too much into her hair up there because I got her hair pulled back. She has a lot of bangs, so I know it's going to hide all that big line that's up there on her head. So I'm not too worried about it. And I know her hair is going to hide certain things. Then this zombie makeup is really, it's not meant to really go on camera or anything like that. This is just again for me to practice, so it doesn't have to be beautiful, but you definitely want to practice making something perfect. So I'm definitely going in right now with a liver color. So this is a red color that makes things look way more bruisey. So once you do that purple, you do that red color, and you just stack it. And that's what I did with the eye. I went from purple into red, and that really makes it look really bruisey. And I did some squiggles, almost veiny sort of things going on, but not quite. So now I'm using a little bit cream color to paint her eye up underneath the eyeball so that you won't see much of her eye or her flesh color up underneath it. Going over her lips a little bit. I noticed, yeah, there we go. So I noticed they were a little red and a little bit too purple, so I get her to pucker up. And when she puckers up, I airbrush over it, and that gives these little lines in her lips to make it look a little bit more old. Going in with a little bit more red here, doctoring up that eye a little bit. Alright, so it's spatter time. So I have my handy dandy Harbor Freight spatter gun. And spattering is what makes everything look more flesh-like. It blends everything together. Any harsh lines you have, it's going to fade. So I'm going to spatter a purple. I'm going to spatter like a nasty yellowy color, like pus, maybe like a greeny pus color. I'm going to do a liver color, which is like red. And then to finalize everything, I'm going to do a flesh over it, just in case I went too harsh with stuff. It looks like she's doing a Snapchat or something. Alrighty, so just doing more spattering, and it's really easy to spatter with this gun. You can hook this gun up to your regular compressor as long as you have an adapter for it, and it's just really nice. Now you can see she's really looking bruisey around her neck, her collarbone. That eye's looking really nasty. So yeah, and then I squirt a little bit more blood up in the eye. So it's really starting to come together. She's looking really dead. I like this makeup. Maybe I spattered a little bit too much, but it's definitely coming together as dead. It was zombie dead, dead body dead. A little bit, maybe a little bit different, but I really like what's going on. So I'm just spattering colors. So let's see what's going on next. I think I even airbrushed, yeah, see we got her hair down right here. So I'm going to paint in some of the nasty pus and gore. Her hair's way too bright, pretty, way too young. I got my hairstylist, Jacqueline Kuhn, on site. And she is going to style up her hair real nice, really zombie-like. Put a little bit of nasty conditioner and stuff in it, and then pull it up like almost like a librarian. Really messy hair. There she is, right there. So now I'm putting a little bit of like yellowy pus leaking out of her eye, her nose, and around her mouth. It's just making it nasty. I'm also going to go over it with a brown blood and make that oozy and nasty too. And I'm just painting it on, you know, just how I think drips would come out and how like. Just sort of dream it in there, you know, sort of imagine what you're gonna do, or what it's gonna do. Alright, so we did the hair. So we also airbrushed a little bit of gray into the hair. The gray didn't really show up much. It made it more ashy-like, and so we just hope that it looks kind of old. And now I'm using the Glisten Up. This is the Thomas Surprenant acrylic sort of gloss material that dries and stays like a glossy material looking. And I like my zombies kind of sweaty and nasty and disgusting. It just makes them look even nastier, especially where the pus is leaking out. That makes it look like pus then, and it makes it look like the eye is actually swollen. Yeah, there's a little bit on the neck right there that I'm noticing on this video at least, that I didn't see in person, that I'm not liking, but of course it's a zombie, so it looks like it belongs there at least. So now I'm adding that little bit of brown blood, and I'm going to spurt it with a little bit of water, and that's going to drip down and make it look more natural. And I also smeared a little bit with a brush and you know, dream it in there, just have it drippy down, and then, you know, it gives it a little bit of realism. Having the ooze come out, like come out of the ears, come out of the nose, out of the mouth. Just doing a little bit, you know, I'm not going too overboard with it, because you can add too much blood to a zombie, and mouth stain, yeah, add too much blood to a zombie and it'll just look ridiculous. So especially this is an aged zombie, so she's dripping out every now and then. And ta-da, this is the final look. I'm really happy with this makeup. I thought it came out pretty good. You know, of course, every time there's things that you would change, but it is a zombie. You know, you can't really mess up a zombie. I'm happy with it. RBFX is happy with it. My model, her information will be below. She's a comedian. She's excellent. She's great. So look her up. Look up RBFX. And until next time, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you share and subscribe. That's all I ask, and I'll do many more of these videos. And maybe change it up a little bit and do more better tutorials, I guess. And until next time, guys, catch you later. Thanks.